Hey guys, it's your girl Shadow. I am home, just got back from work, and I am ready to do my spoiler review for Avengers Endgame. Bear with me, you guys, because I don't know how we're going to discuss this movie without it with it being under 30 minutes. It's going to be a little hard because I have some things that I want to, discuss. And it's going to be a little tricky to try to keep this under 30 minutes, but I'm going to try to do my best. But there are some things I want to discuss. Since I'm staying off of social media discussions, I figured I'll get on my YouTube. This way, any of you guys who have seen the movies can see my thoughts, and I can go more in details of what I actually like about this film. What I'm going to say, this is not a perfect movie. I do have some things, small little gripes, but there were not gripes that took me out of the movie. They were not gripes that made me say, ugh, I hate that they did that. I had no problems with what they did with characters on here. My little gripes are mostly little small details. So I'll touch bases on them as we think. So what I want to do is I want to discuss, and I'm going to probably be a little bit extra because this movie is still fresh in my brain. I got a lot to process, so just bear with me. This movie is 3 hours and 1 or 2 minutes long. And I want to say, I saw this movie kind of the conclusion of a series, kind of like the season finale of a really great, television series. So I saw it in 3 parts. There was the first act, the second act, and the third act. And to be honest with you, I judged this movie based on the acts. And I would much say some people have gripes about the first 2 hours being a little bit more slow. Some people are saying it's convoluted. Some saying there's some plot holes and things like that. And then, a lot of people are basing this movie just off of the third act alone. I'm going to tell you, I'd rather have a really great third act and a nice slow build up to that third act, which is what we got in Endgame, versus with Infinity War, we got more so, a little mixed, in everything. Infinity War was fast paced. It was taking us all over the place. And this one was more about the characters. Infinity War was about Thanos. That was Thanos' movie. This movie is about how our heroes is going to deal with this, and how are they going to put their heads together, work together as a team, and come up with a solution. And I just don't see how you can compare the two. They're completely, totally different driven movies. You have one that's giving you the perspective from the villain, and then you got the other that's getting the perspective from our heroes. So how are you judging these movies like it's a part, 1 and part 2? They're 2 different films. So we get to the first act. So like the first hour of the movie, it is how our heroes is feeling. How are they feeling right now? They lost. Our heroes lost. And we see them raw emotion, and we start off with a very great emotion that pulls you right in, because we start off with Clint. He's at home, he's chilling. We are getting it from the snap. We are seeing what happened from Clint's perspective. He sees his family get decimated, but what's crazy, you don't even see, he doesn't even get to see it visually. He turns his head, turns around, boom, his whole family is gone. Boom. Immediately got me in my heart. Oh, that took me out. And in my audience, I've seen this twice, and from both theaters, audiences, we all was like, oh, shit. Clint, you felt that. When a movie just brings you right in and you feel it right here in the heart. I knew I was getting something special. So then we pan off, and after Clint loses his family, we immediately go into space and see Tony and Nebula. Nebula is all competitive and everything, and so boom, we see Tony and Nebula. You see how Tony has lost weight. You see, the impact. It goes from, so this movie starts from the snap, boom, goes to 22 days later, and I don't even know if y'all caught that, but Tony drops jewels throughout this whole movie that's always come full circle, and we'll talk about my boy Tony later in this video. But he says it's been 22 days, and if y'all remember, Endgame is the 22nd film, of this Infinity Saga. All 22 films coming to a wrap, and he stated it's been 22 days when he's recording the message. So boom, Tony and Nebula get saved by Captain Marvel. Now, initially that was one of my gripes until I saw it the second time, and I was like, wait, how the hell she know he was in space? Because that was one of the things that I heard other people say, that they definitely thought Captain Marvel was going to save them in space, and I was like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. And it's not really explained, but I'll come back to that. It actually is explained if you went to see Captain Marvel, and if you understand they got Rocket, and then if you understand Nebula has a communication device on there. So some of these things they don't show us. It happens off the screen, and we're so nitpicky as fans. We want these directors to show us everything, and some things you just gotta piece together and be smart and piece it together yourself based on the other movies. But anyway, Tony arrives. Now, Tony arrives, he's pissed. He done lost Peter, him and Cap reunite. He's sick. He's been drifting off in space. His mind is all over the place, and he stands up, and we get that call back to Civil War. And that's when Tony says, I told y'all we needed to do what he wanted to do in Age of Ultron, which a lot of motherfuckers was judging my boo on what he wanted to do in Age of Ultron. And if he would have did what he wanted to do from Age of Ultron, Thanos wouldn't have never got those stones. They would have never lost the heroes. And guess what? Steve didn't say nothing because Steve knew he was right. So any of y'all motherfuckers that was talking about my baby Tony from Civil War, saying that he was really the villain of the movie and he was the bad guy and he was wrong and Cap was right, boom, Endgame explains to y'all, nah, Cap wasn't right. And even Cap himself said that. So boom, the first hour is about the devastation. It's about them, going, we need to get Thanos. Boom. Captain Marvel's there. She's strong. She probably hasn't been defeated in 20-some years. And she's like, yo, I don't know Thanos, but I'm going to kill him. And they like, hold on, we're going to work as a team because we lost because we didn't work as a team. We're used to working as a team. And so, boom, they get on the ship, go back, get back on the Benatar, goes to the little garden or whatever where Thanos is. And if y'all see, Thanos literally is limping. He's all scarred up. His face is looking atrocious, and he's hurt. Boom, action. People talking about there wasn't no action. You got an action scene right there. Boom, they jump in. Boom. What? The first big reaction of the movie is Thor ain't trying to hear. Thanos is talking about he got rid of the stones. Fuck them stones. I don't need them no more. I won. He got rid of the stones. Thor was like, man, I ain't trying to hear all this. Boom. They cut his arm off when they first arrived. To cut the gauntlet off. Realized the stones wasn't in there. Boom. Thor just said, fuck it. Chopped his head off. Like our entire audience gasped, like, killed Thanos. Immediately right then, I was like, oh, I don't know what's about to happen. Any theory that I had in my brain was completely gone. I had no idea what to expect because they killed Thanos so soon. I was like, what the hell? What they about to do? Boom. Pan. They leave 5 years later. When that 5 years later came, I said, oh shit. 5 years? So we get into this grieving, which is one of the most, I want to say, most heartfelt part of the movie, and what I call the guts of this movie was once they hit that at 5 years later mark. That's when our heroes, and I'm talking about the big six, that's what our heroes' whole journey started to come full circle. So let's start with Clint Barton, Hawkeye. So I'm going to talk about the characters and how I feel like their arc came full circle. So you got Clint, you got Hawkeye. Clint, who is Hawkeye. He goes Ronin. It's been 5 years. He lost his family. Clint is like, I'm just going to turn straight vigilante. This hero shit didn't work out for me. It took away my family, but people didn't get decimated who's been killing and doing bad things all these years, but they got to live and my sweet innocent family died? Oh no, I'm killing y'all motherfuckers. Y'all don't deserve to be on this earth because my family deserved to be here. Y'all don't deserve to be here. So he went straight Ronin on their ass. And he was literally assassinating people that he don't believe should have survived the snap. So he just said, fuck it. What else do I have to live for? My family's gone. So that's Hawkeye. You see him. You see Natasha. Her hair is grown out. The blonde was, supposedly dyed. So her red is supposed to be her natural color. So the roots is grown out. She ain't taking care of herself. She looks like straight like a little bum. She looks like she cry every day. She's like depressed. The only thing that's keeping her going was the fact that she was an Avenger and she lost her friends. And it's like, what does she have to live for? So we see her grieving. You see Steve doing his little council. He's being a captain. He's being a leader and he's trying to deal with this. Now, Steve has always been alone. Oh yeah, he had the Avengers, but he's a fish out of water. He's out of time. So this is just him coping with the fact that the world has changed and a lot of people, he's trying to get people to see the bright side of things. And, that's a typical Cap thing. So we see him doing that. Then, Tony, let's just go Ant-Man. Now, the first, I want to say the first time that we get to see Ant-Man and we had, the Rat, a.k.a., Splinter, pre-Splinter. I mean, not Splinter. Yes. Is it Splinter? Yeah. Splinter. He saved the day. Which to me, a lot of people are complaining about that the Rat, this can happen. It's been 5 years. This man's van has been locked away, put away. They think he's dead. It's in storage where all his stuff, because a lot of stuff had his last name on the boxes, if y'all pay attention. And then the Rat came along and just so happened to, hit the right button. And how many times that rat probably went across that little thing and to where it was the right thing. It probably was just one button that needed to be pushed from the jump. So why people are feeling like that's a little cheap way, that actually is realistic as hell. It's been 5 years. A rat can just stumble upon and, press something and boom, you come back. I don't see how that was a big gripe for some people, but it was. So, boom, Scott comes back, realizes, he's been in the quantum realm, but then he realizes the whole world has changed, and he realized some time has passed, and he had to figure out what's going on. And he see all these, missing posters. He tried to, the world looks trash and messy. And he goes to see if his daughter had got decimated once he got to the memorial. The first thing he do is like, oh God, not my daughter, Cassie. Reunited with Cassie, man, that was another one where I kind of teared up. I was like, oh, y'all, oh, Scott. Paul Rudd acted his ass off right there, by the way. I just want to say that. He is a comedic person in this, in this world, in this superhero world. But when it came to his daughter, shit got real. And he got serious. And his acting came out in another moment where literally I shed a thug tear. All right, so Scott goes to the Avengers. He lets them know he's alive. Boom. Guess what Scott brought? He brought hope. No pun intended. Not hope that we're missing, but he gave Natasha and Steve hope. You know what I'm saying? And so then they have to go and talk to Tony because of this quantum realm situation. Now, Tony ain't with the bullshit because Tony got his daughter. And let me tell you, first of all, when he said her name, Morgan, that is kind of a comics thing. And then there's also it's also going back to Infinity War, where he talks about having a dream that him and Pepper had a child and they named the child Morgan. But in the comics, Tony has like an evil cousin named Morgan. So shout out to that. And what else? So Steve, Natasha, and Scott finds Tony. Tony ain't with the bullshit. He like, look, I got a child. I got my wife. I got lucky, even though he lost Spider-Man, and which was probably the most devastating part about the snap. He still had Pepper and he had his daughter. So he was done. He was done. But let me tell y'all about anybody who talked that mess about my baby making a lot of mistakes throughout the cinematic universe. He made mistakes because he fucking cared and he felt like he can do something about it. Okay? And that's why he made some mistakes. And that's how you grow and become a better person, is through your mistake. And this is why Iron Man is my favorite character, because he is flawed, but he's flawed to the point that he gives a fuck. He cares. And because he cares, he fucks up. Because that's what we do. We mess up even when we care. We're not perfect beings. And that's Tony's arc. He's not a perfect person. But it was digging at him. Even though he fought against helping them, he still, what did he do? Still pulled through. But guess what? That's because Tony had a woman that supports him. And all this time, she's been fighting against him to stop being Iron Man and just be regular him and live their life. She knew deep down, because she knows her man, she knew that he needed to fulfill this and get those people back. Otherwise it would eat him alive, and she wouldn't have been able to deal with it. So she gave him her blessing. And that's all Tony ever wanted. He wanted to make Pepper happy, but he also wanted to save the world at the same time. I just love me some Tony Stark, man. And let me tell you, Robert Downey Jr. was born to play this role, and I'm sorry, he is the best actor in this universe. I don't care what y'all say. So, oh my God, I'm already at 20 minutes. Okay, let's see. All right, so boom, time, Tony turned them down. So what do? They go get Hulk because he's the second best mind that they can think of. They go back, get Hulk, and Hulk is not dumbass Hulk. He is Professor Hulk. He is Bruce Banner and Hulk mixed together. And this is one of the things that people are really saying this movie is not good just because of Hulk. Let me explain something to you guys. Hulk had his moment. All he do is smash and fuck the world up. What is so great about that? How is Hulk, the regular Hulk, when he's fighting against Bruce Banner and he just enraged, he's more so of a villain than he is a hero. So he got his shine, his Hulk smash shine in the Avengers, the first Avengers, and he got it in Age of Ultron, where Tony had to build a whole goddamn Hulk armor just to stop him. And then he knew he was uncontrollable, so he took his ass into space and was off the map until Ragnarok, where he was off on his own. We saw him rage up a little bit in Ragnarok. Why is it such a big deal? And then we got a little bit of him in Infinity War hulking out, and he got his ass whooped. Bruce Banner don't want to just be Hulk. And then 5 years went by, you guys. 5 years went by. What did y'all expect Bruce to be doing during his 5 years? His whole 5 years was, how can I get me and Hulk to work together? And he explains that. He said, this whole time I've been looking at Hulk as the disease, when the whole time I should have been focused on how bringing us together. And I like smart Hulk. And we'll talk about his arc too. So they did the little test run or whatever, and figured it, and made some mistake. Bruce Banner couldn't, Professor Hulk couldn't really get it without, Tony's brain, because Tony's smarter than him. And like he said, it was a little bit out of his element. So finally, Tony shows up, gives Cap back his shield, and told him how he figured it out. They come up with their teams. And they needed to go get everybody. So Natasha went and got Clint. Hulk and Rocket got together and went to grab Thor. Now, when I first seen Thor, at first I was like, oh, okay, this is natural. This makes sense. It's been 5 years. He's a failure. He's depressed. He doesn't feel like Thor that we knew. He felt a failure. So he got fat, out of shape, looking scroggy. And these character moments is what I like about this film, because it shows that they are not perfect, you guys. They are not perfect. Captain America keeps his physique because he has that serum flowing in his body. Thor's power is about his confidence and how he feels. And now he don't have confidence, so he is not doing well. And that is part of the comics as well. There is a fat Thor in the comics. And I laughed. I thought that I was not expecting that. It was a surprise. We get fat Thor. I was like, oh my God, they really went there. And I know a lot of people probably was expecting him to lose weight and all that. No, because this 5 years done went by. He ain't gonna just lose weight over that. But more of you, I think some of you guys would have probably liked that, even though it don't make no damn sense that he would be able to lose weight in a couple of days while they trying to get the Infinity Stone, y'all would have been okay with that shit. But it don't make sense that he's fat after 5 years. Come on. If you want realistic, they're giving you realistic character moments, and y'all don't even appreciate that from a storytelling point of view. And it's really bugging me with this fan shit. It's like, y'all nitpick on a small rat. Let it be. But anyway, never let. So we get Fat Thor. And so they get everybody, the original sixes, back together. They break off into teams. Nebula and Rocket is there, just, service and War Machine. And they go off to try to get the stones. And that's where we get into our second act, and it's really much focusing on retrieving the Infinity Stones. And man, look at all the callbacks that we got. We go back to 2012, where we got the first, the Battle of New York. And what I thought would surprise me was we got the Ancient One, and this whole time she was there in New York helping with that fight, but we didn't see that. So they was able to give it from a different point of view, different perspective, because remember, a lot of us we got all these heroes in New York. Where were they when the attack of New York? Well, this kind of shows that the Ancient One was there kind of assisting, and we didn't even know. So, Professor Hulk goes there. He sees the Ancient One. Tony, Ant-Man, and Cap, they go to retrieve the Tesseract and the Mind Stone, and we got to see different perspective, how they got all these people to agree to be in this movie again, and we're seeing it from a whole different perspective. It's awesome. Come on now, people are talking about they didn't get it wasn't no action. We literally got Cap, and Cap, that's kind of a callback to the comics. Cap fighting his younger self, and pretty much getting his ass whooped, and he had to use the Mind Stone to kind of erase the younger Cap's memory, but it was literally a fight. And we got two shields, you know what I'm saying? And Cap is in his same outfit and everything, and they... we get a nice little choreography fight scene, and y'all didn't appreciate that. I appreciated it. I thought it was awesome because that is a callback from the comics as well. Then we see how we get a little bit of Winter Soldier when he goes into the elevator, and I really did thought we was gonna get like a short elevator scene where they'll possibly fight. Boom! What Cap say? Based on what his knowledge, he already knew about the situation already. He was like, Hail Hydra. Boom! Was able to get the dang on Tesseract. Woo! Let me tell y'all, I think this is so great from a storytelling point of view because it shows how much thought has been built into this universe. My God! So, we get Dumb Hulk. You get a version of Dumb Hulk. And he's pissed. And he's upset. And he's raged. So Tony, Ant-Man gives, Tony in the past a little cardiac little thing. You got Loki there. And he's peeping everything. You know what I'm saying? Loki's a sneaky person. He's like, yeah, I'm peeping everything. Bam. Loki gets the Tesseract because Thor knocked Iron Man, Tony from the future out coming off the elevator because he was pissed off. Because everything pisses Hulk off. And completely messes up the mission. They lose the Tesseract to Loki. And I think that's kind of how they are going to use that so that we can see Loki on another timeline on the Disney Plus channel. Should be cool. So I'm kind of intrigued about that. First, I had a problem with it. I was like, oh, Loki is not just going to disappear. What are they going to do about that? And then once they realized oh, well, we can go back to 1970 where the Tesseract was in New Jersey, and we can get some more Pym particles. I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. And this is another part of where Cap and Tony's arc comes in. Tony sees his father. And remember, with Civil War, Tony, feels some kind of way about the relationship that he has with his father. And he's now a father himself. And he got to have a really deep conversation with his dad in the past. And I just was like, oh, that daddy-son moment just hit me right here. And I literally teared up again. So this is like the third time I tear up. Cap gets his moments where he sees, Miss Carter, and, he sees his picture and he sees some memories and he's reminiscing himself. Great moment. We go to not Nebula. I'm going to talk about Natasha and Clint. Now, this is the gripe that I had. Nebula. Why the fuck did you let them two go to whatever the hell the planet is, Vormor or whatever, to get the damn Soul Stone, knowing one of them have to die? Now, the only thing I could think of is maybe Nebula didn't really know that about the soul for a soul thing. She wasn't quite sure about that. All she knew is that her sister didn't come back with it. But then I'm thinking she had to have known that Gamora had to get sacrificed in order to get the stone. So why didn't she let Tasha and Clint know that? Letting Natasha and Clint know that. So that's my gripe. That's the gripe that I had. I was pissed that Nebula didn't tell them or warn them. But then to move the plot forward, I understand kind of why the writers probably just made it like she wasn't thinking and just failed to tell them that. And plus, they were willing to do whatever it takes anyway to bring their friends back. And I think that's why Natasha was the one who ended up being the one to sacrifice her. And that is the fourth time that I cried in this film. It was poetic. It was necessary to move the plot forward. But man, that's where Natasha's arc ended. And I was like, what y'all mean ain't no stakes in the MCU? What do y'all mean the MCU is always fake killing? What do y'all mean that it's not a dark film? These movies don't touch us and break barriers and push limits. Yes, they do. They just killed off a major character for the greater whole of the universe. And I was just like, so touched by it. And the fifth time I cried is when they came back and Clint kind of dropped and Professor Hulk realized that Nat didn't come back and he kind of dropped too, and I was like, oh, kill me. Now, I'm telling you, the only scene that I didn't really too much care for, like I maybe was just like, okay. And that was when Thor went back to the Dark World. Because the Dark World, Thor Dark World is to me the worst film, right next to The Incredible Hulk. One of the worst films. So that movie, I never really went back for repeat viewing. So some of it I completely forgot about. I was like, oh hell, I forgot Rene Russo was in that movie. And I forgot the ether got into Jane's body. I completely forgot the whole plot of the Dark World. So when that part came, I was literally like, what? I was like trying to figure it out because I couldn't relate it back to Thor the Dark World. And I'm like, oh, well, one of the worst movies had Infinity Stone related. So, okay. So I was completely just thrown off by that scene. But I did like the character moment with Thor and his mother. I thought that was part of his arc. He never got to say goodbye to his mother in the way that seemed fit. She was a wise woman, and she knew that he was Thor from the future. And I was just like, that was another good moment, to see a mother and son talk. And she gave him the pep, saying, be who you want to be, and, don't worry about trying to, change what's happened, but be who you are, and that was just a great moment. So anyway, they go, all the stones get returned. Oh, Nebula. This Nebula and War Machine goes to Korag or whatever. And, where Star-Lord and the Power Stone. And they successfully get the Power Stone, but they're not able to get it. I mean, Nebula's not able to get back because she started communicating with her previous self, and that's how Thanos figured out that they were trying to undo what he was successfully able to be done. Thanos is smart. He's not no dummy. He figured it out because he is intelligent. And he's a tactician, and he knows how to figure things out. So he was able to figure things out, infiltrate everything, and figure out how he was going to have to go and deal with the situation because he wanted his destiny to still be fulfilled. So Nebula in the past pretended to be Nebula in the future and went back. And, she shrunk down. She gave the Pym particles that she got from Nebula in the future to Thanos. So that's how Thanos was able to shrink down his ship, so where he was able to come through the quantum realm, and that's how he was able to expand and get above them so that he can destroy the Avengers Tower. Now, this is where Hulk's arc, to me, came full circle. Hulk served a really great purpose being Professor Hulk, because if he wasn't Professor Hulk, Hulk wouldn't have came out so that he can wield the Infinity Iron Man gauntlet if he wasn't merged with Banner. He would have did what he did in Infinity War. Banner would have been like, Hulk, man, I need you to come out. We need to get our people back. And Hulk would have been like, no. Which is why him being Professor Hulk makes sense. Because they were merged together. And Hulk, the, stupid Hulk, couldn't come out and refuse him. So therefore, he wielded the stone, did the snap, and because he was the one that had the gamma radiation, he was the one that was most less likely to die from it. So that's why he was the initial one to do the snap. Sixth time I cried, you guys, is when Clint's phone started ringing and it was his wife. I was like, oh my God. And then Scott pans up and the butterflies and everything and the birds are chirping and it's sunny out. And the last thing I thought was that we were about to get an explosion. And once that explosion hit, boom. I was like, oh, Thanos, you smart ass 10-dimensional villain. Oh, y'all gotta tell. Thanos is he is a well-written villain, you guys. Blew up the damn Avengers headquarters, and nobody died because guess what? They all got super abilities. So, of course, nobody died. Scott didn't die, even though it seemed like something directly hit him, because he immediately went small. Duh. That's his gift. He's able to avoid those type of impacts because he's able to go small really fast, and that help protects him. And Thanos comes out. Boom. He comes out and decides to. So what I thought we was about to get, the Trinity fight. And that's what we did. We got the Trinity fight. And oh my God, you guys, this is when we bust up into the third act. It's like 40 minutes of greatness. It's called The Return of Our Heroes. That's what I call it. And this is where Thor, Cap, and Tony approaches, Thanos, and he has his nice little dialogue or whatever. He always say some poetically brutal shit that makes you, some one-liners that really hit you. And you're like, this motherfucker's something else. So they start fighting. Boom, boom, boom. Clang, clang, clang. They fighting, whatever. So I always wondered, what the hell was the purpose of Thor bringing back Mjolnir, or whatever. I always get that word. And he had Stormbreaker. But I was like, that's pretty dope. He got 2 weapons, and both of them are pretty, pretty handy. And then when that goddamn Thor, he was tossed that goddamn hammer, and the hammer went past him, and the goddamn Captain America caught that bitch. I'm telling you, we all in the theater just was like, like, I'm not no big Cap fan, but man, that got me excited. Cap was able to wield the goddamn hammer, and that's a call back to Age of Ultron, where he kind of nudged it a little bit. And I'm telling you, this is my theory with that. If you have a problem with that, this is my theory. My theory is, once Cap was always worthy, but in Age of Ultron, Cap was holding on to something that he needed to let off his heart. And I think after Civil War, once Tony found out who really killed his parents, and Steve honestly admitted to knowing it and not telling him, that's when he became actual worthy. That's when he really became worthy. And Cap has always been an upstanding dude and trying to do the right things, but he had some information about his friend's parents that he held as a secret to protect his other friend. And once that came out, that made him worthy. And listen, Cap was fucking going toe-to-toe with Thanos, because Cap is the most skilled fighter of all the Avengers. It ain't always about strength and brawn and brute. It's about using your mind. And the way he was able to manipulate the hammer with his shield and his fighting abilities and his skill set just shows how dope of a skilled fighter he is, and how he's able to maneuver and use his strength and his brain when fighting, and gave Thanos a run for his money. I was really impressed by Cap. I was like, oh shit, Cap giving it to him. Of course, Thanos is a skilled fighter too. We see that. He don't have the gauntlet. But that weapon Thanos had was a G. I was like, what is that, a fucking boomerang sword? I think that's something Arya need, that motherfucker with some dragon glass attached to it and some Valyrian steel. And Arya, I have a feeling Arya gonna give me some motherfucking Thanos vibes in Game of Thrones tomorrow. She need that damn shit, because Thanos was killing it. How Cap was... Well, guess what? Thanos was able to do that shit too with his goddamn double sword, samurai cheap sword thing. I was so excited. And even though he whooped Cap's ass, Cap was not giving up. I thought he was gonna say I could do this all day, but I think he was just done with that phrase, especially since his past self said it. And then all of a sudden, you hear Cap. He hears something in his earpiece, and he says, "To your left." Oh my God. You start seeing the goddamn portal, Doctor Strange portal open. You guys, my eyes was like this. I was like, and I sat up on my seat, and my eyes was like this. And I was literally like this. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then you see T'Challa and all them come through. You see the whole Wakanda come through that bitch. You see all the Guardians come back. You see all the Asgardians there. And then you see Valkyrie on her, Spider-Man called it a pony. And you just started seeing that. You see Doctor Strange come through that bench, and he got all his motherfucking sorcerers with him, and they all making portals, and all this whole army just come through. I was just like, yes. I literally started just bawling from happiness and joy. I didn't know what to do with myself, you guys. And that whole battle was just phenomenal. The whole thing was phenomenal. I'm still just thinking about it. I got to go see this again because I tried to go see it tonight, but all my theaters, the theater that I wanted to go see it at is completely booked for tonight, so I'm going to have to go see it tomorrow. And when that goddamn Cap strapped his thing and pulled it tight, he got called back Mjolnir. Everybody was formed. Oh my God, my crowd cheered when Spider-Man came. When he swung his ass over there, my audience cheered. Probably the 8th time that I cried. And when that goddamn Cap said, "Avengers, assemble." That moment, I literally went back to 10-year-old me and remember seeing that on a full spread comic book page with big bubble words with Cap saying that, and he's first in line while all the rest of the X-Men and the Avengers and the Inhumans and all that was behind him. And oh my God, I just remember seeing that. I remember it's like I went back to my 10-year-old self in that whole battle. I was with my 10-year-old self, you guys. I'm getting emotional. Because of what happens after. So the fight is going on and everything, and then my baby Tony, he's like him and Spider-Man. Spider-Man comes and say, "I woke up and I'm with Doctor Strange and you're not there and I don't know what happened." And Tony just grabbed him and just gave him a big hug, and I was like, my baby cares. And I literally started tearing up for the 9th time. I'm such a big ass crybaby that I'm crying right now, straight up. I'm trying to hold myself together. And I cheered at that moment. And then, they're still fighting. People got their moments. And I don't know if you guys paid attention. A lot of people said something about Black Panther getting the gauntlet and, running fast, and there was some racist stuff. No, that is a callback to the comments, because everybody who kind of touched the gauntlet actually wields the gauntlet in the comics. And the Russos knew that. And so that's why he was like, "Give it to me." And then he ran, or whatever. Everybody had these scenes. I don't have enough time to go through everybody, so I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Finally, Tony comes and says to Doctor Strange, "Hey, You said we got one way. I hope this is it. And Doctor Strange says, if I tell you what it is, then it's not going to happen. And my heart started my heart just started racing because I was like, what the fuck? What did he mean? What is he talking about? You guys. Captain Marvel, which, she's really not referred to as Captain Marvel in the universe yet. She destroys the ship, which serves her purpose. She's really great for destroying, ships. She comes down, gives Thanos the business. So did Wanda, Scarlet Witch. She gave Thanos the business. That's why his ass had to call down for them to attack on them, because she was gonna kill Thanos' ass. But he was, like I said, he's smart enough to know when he's defeated and what to do to, so that he doesn't lose. Captain Carol Danvers was giving his ass the business, but he's smart. He took that power stone and put it on the other hand and knocked her ass out because he had to, because that's the only way he was going to win her. Because, the Power Stone is powerful, and Thanos is powerful already without the Power Stone. So put his strong ass together with the Power Stone, and of course he's going to knock her out. So that took her out. The girl, the little pan of all the female characters, I appreciated that as a woman. And as my daughter watching this tonight is going to appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you, Russo brothers, for doing that. That was fan service that little girls will never forget. And me as a grown-ass woman will never forget. So I don't care what y'all say about woman empowerment or if that was a weak scene. It was necessary. And if you had a daughter or a woman that, that look up to some of these characters and actually appreciate these characters, you too will see past the little dumb shit y'all say and appreciate those little small moments, because men always get praised. And so it's just nice to have female characters shine a little bit. Whether you think they're weak characters or not, that was a good moment. And I know my daughter will appreciate it because she loved the female characters in both DC and Marvel universes. And that's who she tends to relate to. And then finally, it looked like they're going to lose again. And that goddamn Doctor Strange did this shit to Tony. I literally knew what was going to happen, you guys. I literally gasped. I think my heart stopped for about 18 milliseconds. Tony did what he did, got the gauntlet. Thanos thought he was finna snap. That shit said clink. Thanos was like, what the fuck? They pan over to the next. It's Tony got the gauntlet and the damn Infinity Stones. I said, oh, my baby about to die. Because he's a human. He can't fucking wield the gauntlet. He's not strong enough. He was able to snap the motherfuckers out of existence. And I knew that was his fate. Oh my God, y'all. When they showed Tony with half his body pretty much just fucked up and charred, like, he was in shock because his body was failing because of the impact of the gauntlet. And that Peter and Tony moment, the War Machine and Tony moment, and that goddamn Pepper and Tony moment killed my soul. But I was satisfied. I was happy because Pepper Potts' dialogue summed it all up. She said, we'll be okay. You can rest now. Oh my God. I gotta end it. I can't do this video no more, you guys. I'm just so touched by this film because I did not want him to die. Like literally, I wanted him to move forward. I wanted him to just retire off. I did not want to see him die. I didn't think, but they took him out in such a way that I feel satisfied. I can watch this movie over and over and over and over again, even though I know my favorite character is no longer in this universe. I am at peace with it. I loved how they completed his arc. And when they got to the funeral part, you guys, I broke down. Like, in my whole theater, packed theater, we was all sniffling. I seen people taking their glasses off, rubbing their eyes. I seen people with their head down like this. I seen some people like this. I seen people like, I mean, even if you didn't like Iron Man, you can't tell me you didn't feel that. And when they got to his funeral, it was so poetic. It was so wonderful. And I don't know if you noticed it, but when they panned across all the characters were kind of marked in their own little individual MCU arcs. You seen all the characters from all the different franchises together. And if you notice, it started with, you know what I'm saying, Pepper and War Machine and Happy, because that's what started, you know, the Iron Man universe. And then you go to the Captain America, you know, and then you got Thor and the Guardians, and then you got Black Panther, and then, you know, and then you got the Ant-Man franchise, you got Doctor Strange, and then, oh my God, they go to the Iron Man characters, and they got the little boy who was, the little boy who was in Iron Man 3. They even had him, oh my God, I'm talking to it. They even had him, little Harley from Iron Man 3. They had him all grown up. And then they pan off, you see Captain Marvel. She's the last person before Nick Fury pans off. And that moment when Happy's talking to Morgan and he said, "What do you want?" And she said, "A cheeseburger," because she's so much like her dad. And he said, "I'm going to get you all the cheeseburgers you want." That goes back to the first Iron Man when he was rescued and all he wanted was some cheeseburgers. Y'all, it was so wonderful. I loved it. And the fact that he left a message, because he knew the possibilities, because Tony wasn't dumb. He knew the possibility of him leaving that earth, so he was able to record a message. And when he said that, "I love you 3,000, that was the 12th time I cried. I think I cried for that whole 10-minute sequence. I cried. To where when they got to Cap's arc, you know, Cap had to take the stones back. And he had to take Mjolnir back because Mjolnir had to go back because, like the Ancient One told Professor Hulk, "I'm going to give you this time stone, but make sure you return all these time stones to their exact moments that you took them so it don't mess up the timeline." And Cap volunteered to do it. He took the stones back, but he didn't return. Cap said he took Tony's advice, and he took what he said to Nat's advice, and said he was going to get a life. He's been alone this whole time, and the one true thing he wanted was his friend. He got his friend from the past back, which is Bucky, but he wanted his happy ending with Peggy, and he went and got it. So I have people ask me questions about what I felt about that scene. And I thought it was a great arc for Cap. The old man Cap is a comics. So that is something out of the comic. That is something Cap would do. But he's always did for others, and he never really did anything selfishly for himself. So to just see him do something for himself to fulfill his arc was amazing. I thought it was dope. And he passed the mantle on, and I didn't think they were going to do that. Honestly, I didn't care. I don't care either way if he passed it to Bucky or if he passed it to Sam. I know a lot of people think, Falcon is a weak character, and a lot of people don't like him, but I honestly didn't care who he passed the mantle to. I don't, long as how they do it makes sense, and if the movies or the series that they're doing on Disney Plus makes sense, I'm still going to watch because I'm a fan of these characters, even if my favorite one is gone. And honestly, he went back in time and he ended up on that bench because he walked there. He didn't come back through the machine because time don't work the same in the quantum realm as it does in the real world. So all that time passed while it was minutes there. So he just put himself there because he knew that time was going to come in the future. So he gave up his mantle. And he lived his life and he got his happy ending. And I thought that was just a great service to really all these characters came full circle. Now the Thor thing with him going with the Guardians, him giving up New Asgard to Valkyrie is pretty cool because Valkyrie probably would be the female Thor if they're going to go that route, or maybe she'll still be Valkyrie. I don't know, but it gives them the opportunity to do something different, and I'm really curious to see how that goes. And they put Thor with a great franchise because if you notice, Gamora's not back. Y'all tell me what y'all think happened to Gamora. This is my theory. I think I got two. I think Gamora either got decimated because she was with the bad guys. She was with Thanos, that version of Gamora. The Gamora we know and what Star-Lord knew is dead. But we got another version, the past Gamora. But I think she got decimated too, and we just did not see that. We seen her die, so we didn't need to see her die again. So I think she got decimated. Or the past Nebula is now, the future Nebula and the past. Wait, was Nebula on the Benatar with the Guardians when Thor got up on there? When Fat Thor got on there? I can't remember if Nebula was on that ship or not. Because if Nebula was on that ship with the Guardians and Gamora wasn't, then I do think Gamora got decimated. And even though he's searching for her, I don't know if he's searching for future Gamora or if he's searching for that Gamora he's seen. So I think that's going to be part of Guardians 3. And Thor is going to be in that movie. And I think that's pretty dope. Because instead of them doing Thor 4, they can just put Thor with the Guardians 3 and give us a whole new perspective on those characters. Thumbs up. I'm with it. Clint back with his family. Professor Hulk probably just gonna do his name and go teach some lessons. He's fucked up, so he might need some time to heal. I think because he's a doctor, he's gonna figure out some way, and over time he'll probably heal and be back to being him. Or I don't know, he might be permanently damaged, so we might not see Hulk anymore. I don't know. But anyway, that is my spoiler review. So sorry, you guys, it went over an hour, but it was so much to unpack. And I was not going to do separate videos for this. So it is pretty lengthy. So I'll just let you guys know this is over an hour. But anyway, that's my review. I really do like this movie better than I do Infinity War, but I enjoy Infinity War by itself. I can't wait to see them back to back together and see, all the things, see how it feels to see both of them back to back. I have not did that yet. I would like to do it where I can see them both at home. So I know that'll be the case when Disney Plus comes out, and I get to explore these characters in that. We didn't see Vision, and I don't think he's going to be back in the universe either, but we will see him. We will see Vision and Scarlet Witch on their show on Disney Plus. So I'm really interested in to see how that is going to pan out. I really do think this was a finale for those 6 main Avengers, and I do think that they're going to shelf them. Of course, no more Iron Man. I think they're going to shelf those characters and just start scoping us out a new universe. And I think we just need to get on board, trust Kevin Feige. I think this is a unique way for them to bring the X-Men in and focus on those characters. And that way we don't have to deal with the continuity of it all. And give us our Fantastic Four and, give them a few years to get all this stuff together and see where this universe goes, you guys. I'm all for it. I am okay. My favorite character is dead in this universe and is gone, and I am really okay with it. I'm just ready to see the next chapter. Anyway, this is your girl Shadow. That is my spoiler review on Avengers Endgame. This is officially my longest video ever. And comment, if y'all have some questions, feel free to ask me and I will answer you back in the comments. Like this video, share it, and also subscribe. And I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I talk to you guys again when I do my next review, which might be Detective Pikachu or something like that. All right. Deuces.